A country of 1.4 billion people, the most populous nation on earth, and yet right now India is quietly heading towards a crisis that no one is talking about. No one is teaching it in schools, and almost no politician wants to touch. India is running out of babies. Not immediately, not overnight, but the numbers are already telling a story that should be making every single one of us stop and think. And by the time most people realize what is happening, it will already be too late to fix it easily. Let me tell you what is actually going on. According to the most recent sample registration system data, in 2023, India's total fertility rate, which is basically the average number of children a woman has in her lifetime, dropped to 1.9. Now you might think, okay, 1.9 sounds fine, roughly 2 kids per couple, that's balanced. But here's the thing, to maintain a stable population, a country needs a fertility rate of at least 2.1. That zero point 0.2 difference sounds tiny, but it's not. It is the difference between a population that sustains itself and one that slowly, steadily starts to shrink. And India's UN projected population is expected to begin declining in absolute numbers from 2060 onwards. And in many Indian states, we are already well below that number. Tamil Nadu is at 1.3, Kerala is at 1.5, Andhra Pradesh is at 1.5, Delhi is at 1.2. These are not small villages, these are major economically significant states, and they are producing far fewer children than needed to replace their own population. Now, before anyone starts saying that's good, we have too many people anyway, let me tell you something, a shrinking population is not a blessing. It is one of the most complicated and painful economic and social problems a country can face. And the countries that are already living through it, Japan, South Korea, Italy, are desperately trying to reverse it and failing. So, why is this happening in India and why now? Reason number one, women are making different choice and it is completely rational. Just 30 years ago, the average Indian woman had around 3 to 4 children. Today, that number has fallen below 2, and in cities, it is closer to 1 or sometimes 0. And when you actually talk to women, when you sit with them and ask them honestly, the answer is not surprising at all. Imagine a woman who studies hard, gets a degree, builds a career, finally starts feeling financially independent for the first time in her life, then she gets married. Within a year or two, she is expected to get pregnant, her body goes through something enormous, her career slows down or stops entirely. Her mother in law has opinions about everything, her husband means well but does not actually share the load, and 3 months after giving birth, she is expected to go back to work, functioning like nothing happened, while also breastfeeding, managing the house, and emotionally supporting everyone around her. Now ask yourself honestly, if this was the deal being offered to you, would you sign up for it twice, 3 times, 4 times? According to Morgan Stanley projection, 45% of women aged between 25 to 44 in India are expected to be childless and single by 2030. Not because they do not like children, but because the system around them has not made it possible to have children without completely losing themselves in the process. This is not women being selfish, this is women doing the math. Reason number two, the cost of raising a child has become terrifying. There is a term that is now being used by young couples in India, DINK, double income, no kids. And it is not just a quirky lifestyle choice, it is increasingly becoming a financial survival strategy. Think about what it actually costs to raise a child in an Indian city today. Experts estimate that a middle class urban family could spend upwards of 1 crore rupees raising a child from birth to the age of 21. Once the cost of education, tuition, healthcare, and daily living are included, and that is before a foreign degree enters the picture. Housing prices have exploded. A two-bedroom flat in Bangalore or Mumbai now cost anywhere from 60 lakhs to 2 crores depending on the area. Young couples are taking home loans that will take 25 years to repay. They are already struggling financially even before having a baby. So young couples look at each other and say we can give one child everything or we can give two children a compromised version of what we want for them. And more people are choosing one or none. Reason number three, men are not ready and women know it. One of the biggest invisible reasons behind falling fertility is something researchers call the second shift. Women go to work all day, come home, then do another full shift of cooking, cleaning, childcare, emotional management, and household planning. While the man comes home, sits on the sofa, and considers his day was done. According to India's 2024 National Time Use Survey by the National Statistics Office, women aged between 15 to 59 spend about 305 minutes per day, that is over 5 hours, on unpaid domestic work, compared with just 88 minutes for men. This gap, more than 3.5 hours every single day, is not just unfair. Over years and decades, it is physically and emotionally destroying women. And women are watching this. They see their older sisters, their cousins, their friends who got married a few years ago. They see the exhaustion. They see the career that quietly disappeared. They see the women who used to have opinions about everything slowly becoming someone who just manages the house and adjusts everywhere. When women do not feel safe, supported, or equal inside a marriage, they delay it. And when they delay marriage, they delay children. And when they delay children past a certain biological point, they sometimes end up with no children at all. Reason number four, cultural change. There was a time when having children was simply what you did. It was not a choice you consciously made, it was the next step. You grew up, you got married, you had children, there was a whole social structure built around it. Your parents expected it, your neighbors asked about it. Your identity as a woman was almost entirely built around becoming a mother. That social pressure still exists in many parts of India, but in cities among educated young people, something has shifted. For the first time in generations, Indian women are having an identity outside of being a wife and a mother. And when you give someone that freedom, they use it. Social media has also changed something very deep. For the first time, women are seeing other women choose differently. A woman is watching another woman who is 44, unmarried, has no children, has a successful career, travels the world, and seems genuinely happy. And somewhere in her mind, she begins to see that as a possibility that was never presented to her by her own family. The story of what a complete life looks like has changed, and the fertility rate is simply the data reflecting the change. Now, here's where it gets really complicated because the consequences are enormous. When a country's fertility rate falls below replacement level for long enough, the age structure of the population starts to flip. Right now, India has an incredibly young population. More than 65% of Indians are below the age of 35. This is called the demographic dividend, and it is one of the reasons economists are so excited about India's future. A young workforce means productivity, innovation, consumption, and growth. But a young population only stays young if people keep having children. Look at Japan, their fertility rate has been below replacement since the 1970s. Today, Japan produces more adult diapers than baby diapers. Adult diaper sales have outpaced baby diaper sales since 2011. As the over 65 population surpass a quarter of the country, their workforce is shrinking. Their economy has been stagnant for decades. The government is spending billions trying to convince people to have babies, and it is barely working.
Tokyo Governor Koike Yuriko said in a New Year speech to staff that the prefecture will consider offering about 5,000 yen a month for each child.
South Korea recorded the lowest fertility rate in the world at 0.72 in 2023, triggering what former President Yoon Suk Yeol called a national emergency. Their government has tried cash incentives, housing benefits, extended parental leave. The rate did tick up slightly to 0.75 in 2024, the first increase in 9 years, but it remains catastrophically below replacement and far from a turnaround. China, after decades of one child policy, is now desperately trying to get people to have three babies. They are offering money, extended leave, preferential treatment for families with multiple children, and still people are not having babies. Because once a cultural shift happens at this level, financial incentives alone cannot reverse it. India still has time, but the window is not infinite. The states in southern India that are already below replacement level will start feeling the consequences within the next 10 to 15 years. Fewer young workers entering the workforce, more elderly people needing care, a pension and healthcare system under enormous pressure. And the irony is that the states that invested the most in women's education and economic empowerment, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Andhra Pradesh, are the ones facing the sharpest fertility decline first. Because educated, financially independent women have real choices and many of them are choosing differently. So, what is the real question here? The wrong question is, how do we get women to have babies? That framing treats women as a resource to be managed. It puts the entire burden of a national demographic crisis on female bodies. And honestly, that approach will fail. It has already failed everywhere it has been tried. The right question is, what would need to change for having children to feel like a genuinely good choice for a woman? Because right now, for many women, it does not feel like a good choice. It feels like a sacrifice. It feels like giving up on your career, your body, your sleep, your social life. And if we want that to change, the change has to be real. Not a government poster, not a cash incentive of 10,000 rupees. Real structural change. Men need to genuinely share the load at home, not help, not assist. Actually, share equally. Workplaces need to stop treating pregnancy as a career disruption and start treating it as a biological reality that deserves support, not punishment. Maternity and paternity leave both need to be longer, better, and actually used without stigma. Childcare infrastructure in India is almost non existent at scale. Building affordable, high quality childcare so the woman does not have to choose between her child and her career is not a luxury. At this point, it is a national priority, and families need to evolve. The in law dynamic that treats a new bride as unpaid domestic staff needs to end. Not because it is morally wrong, though it is, because the women who grow up watching that dynamic are the ones now choosing not to participate in it at all. When I started researching this topic, I honestly expected to find simple story, too many people, not enough resources, fertility falls, problem solved. But the more I read, the more I realized the story is far more complicated and far more human than that. This is not about population numbers, this is about what we are offering women when we ask them to build families. And right now, in too many cases, what we are offering them is not a partnership, it is a burden in the form of motherhood. The data is not the problem, the data is just showing us the truth that women have been living for a very long time, and that has to change.